Hey, Toby dog. Hey, Abby dog. How's it going, guys? Hi. Let's go. Come on, inside. And today's video is sponsored by Planet Wild. And let me just tell you guys, we have a very busy day planned here on the farm. So yesterday, I actually went off farm with my wife, Allison, for something that I want to talk to you about. But that means today I've got some farm catch-up work I've got to try to do. So because my wife works a job where she a lot of times will have to work on the weekends, and because I work a job where weekends aren't really exactly a thing, a lot of the time we like to make our weekend time be something that happens pretty much during the middle of the week because there's fewer crowds and it's easier to get things done. And so even though yesterday was a Wednesday, we treated it like a Saturday and we went on a little adventure. We ended up hopping in the car and driving to Portland, Maine, and we went on a whale watch, which was a heck of a lot of fun and something I hadn't done in years. And if you've never been on a whale watch before, to explain it to you, basically you just get in a boat and you drive out into the ocean, like not too deep into the ocean, but a little bit into the ocean, and you cruise around looking for whales, hopefully whales that you can watch. And so that's how we spent our day yesterday, and it was an absolutely phenomenal time. We saw a few porpoises, which I think are a type of dolphin, which makes them essentially a type of whale. We also saw things like jellyfish. We saw this freaky looking ocean sunfish, which is absolutely gigantic.
These guys are one of the heaviest known bony fish in the world.
We even got to see a basking shark, which is becoming an increasingly rare sight. Hang on, I gotta finish these guys and they're loud. Yeah, we actually saw 2 basking sharks, which are these massive sharks that I believe are the second largest living variety of fish at this point on the world, or in the planet, or I don't know how you refer to it, but they're huge, Abby dog. And while for the entire 4-hour time we were out there, we didn't actually end up seeing any like sperm whales or humpback whales or anything like that. It was a really great way to spend a day, and we ended up getting lobster rolls after the fact, which probably made it even better. But there was one thing that kept happening over and over again while we were out there on the boat that totally bummed me out. You see, every so often as everybody's out there on the boat, like looking around, looking for whales, hoping to spot some whales, and every so often we would spot something off in the distance and the boat would pull up to it and this would happen. Yes, that is correct. After a few hours on the water, I think we ended up fishing out 5 mylar balloons that were just floating on the top of the water, which if certain animals were to eat would absolutely prove fatal. And I don't know, it just really bums me out. I mean, balloons, generally speaking, are very unnecessary. And in particular, people taking balloons and then releasing them into the world. It's entirely unnecessary and very, very harmful. I mean, I can actually think of a time a couple years back when one of my ducks ended up dying because it swallowed a balloon.
Oh no. Oh no. I've got a dead duck here. Oh, what is this? What's the matter, girl? Oh no.
Like if I look in here though, I definitely see like blood
like all around this area, like out of her vent. So something's going on there. I don't usually like to do this, but in the past I have done autopsies on dead ducks to find out what killed them. I think given the fact that I'm seeing blood coming out of her vent, and I'm very worried about some sort of other potential illnesses like bird flu, it's probably actually worth trying to do this one. This day's gonna suck today. And well, very quickly after I opened her up, I think I found the problem. It is this right here. See it? Yes, it is a balloon. Like just a standard old regular issued latex balloon. My theory is she found it on the ground, she ate it, it worked its way through her digestive tract, and that's what ended up killing her. And so what I would say to all folks watching this video right now, please don't let balloons go flying into the air. I mean, it's just absolutely such an awful and needless way for an animal to die.
So yes, please allow this to be your scolding reminder that you should, generally speaking, try to avoid using balloons, and if you must use balloons, don't ever release them into the sky so that they can go wherever, because they're landing in our oceans and on our farms, and they are absolutely doing harm to animals for no good reason whatsoever. Do you guys see that chicken right there? That chicken has been the most problematic chicken of the year. That chicken was the chicken that was always going broody. That chicken has escaped the coop multiple times, and now apparently that chicken has escaped from up on the top of the pasture where all my other chickens are. It's now just out here wandering around having a gay old time. We're gonna put a stop to this right now. Come here, chickie. Whoa, did you guys look at that? Got a little snake hanging out on some old hay. What's up there, little snaky? You doing okay? Boop. Back in the grass. So people are always asking me if our farm has problems with snakes, and we really don't. That is probably the most common type of snake you're gonna see. And in fact, I think that's the only type of snake I've ever seen on this farm. And there's really not even a lot of them, and they don't do anything to disturb my birds. And they really just kind of help with managing certain pests and insects. So I have no problems with them. And it's actually kind of nice to coexist with snakes like that. I had to resort to using a net, but I did catch her. Let's bring her back to her friends. Kind of lollygagged on my farm chores yesterday because I wanted to get out here really early so we could leave the farm by about 6 a.m. to make it up to Portland so we could be there in time to catch the boat for the whale watch. But of course that means I have to do extra work to catch up on things. And that also probably makes this a really good time to tell you about today's video sponsor, Planet Wild. So Planet Wild is a nature protection organization who works across the globe working to clean up habitats, clean up oceans, protect endangered species. They restore forests, and they do a lot of other really great work. Planet Wild is like crowdfunding for nature. They connect people who want to financially contribute to environmental protection with projects that know how to effectively protect nature. And here's the really cool thing. Each month they show you a YouTube video of the project and what's going on, and it shows you exactly what you've helped to achieve. For example, in their latest mission, they're helping bring back lost frog species in Ecuador. The membership starts at $6 a month, and you can decide how much you want to give according to your financial means. And you absolutely can cancel your membership at any time. You can subscribe through this QR code, or you can click the link down in the description, and you can get your first month for free. As well as, if you want to watch this video, you'll be able to find out what exactly they're doing and see the positive impact that they have on the planet. And you'll be able to start helping out and making a difference today. Come on, cows, fresh grass, come on. Hey, cows, come on, let's go. Hey, cows, come on, cows, fresh grass, come on. Come on. Yes, here we have our 4 calves hanging out. Betty White, what did you do? Did you like sleep in a pile of poop this morning? What happened? All 4 of the calves are doing really well. Everybody's got a lot of energy. Everybody seems really happy. Everybody's getting along. But yes, I actually have finally arrived on giving a name to my youngest calf. So you guys have come up with a lot of good name suggestions, and I'm finally ready to announce the name of this new calf. You know, I was toying with Betsy Ross. I was toying with having another Betty and calling her Betty Boop. A really clever commenter made the suggestion of combining the 2 ideas and calling her Betty Ross, like from the Incredible Hulk comics. But actually somebody made a really good suggestion that as I thought more about it, I realized it might be my only opportunity to ever do this. But because she's a 2nd generation female bovine born on the farm, that means she gets a B name. And because she's like a light tan, buff color, it would be absolutely criminal for me not to give her a name like Buffy. And in particular, her name is going to be Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which as far as names go, I'm actually very pleased with. So thank you everybody for all of that input. It's kind of exciting to have a new calf named Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And isn't she such a pretty calf? Oh no, Abby dog, what happened? Did the cattle tip over your doghouse? Oh, poor girl. Yeah, it looks like the cattle tipped over Abby's doghouse. They were actually in the area where her house usually sits, and apparently somebody got a little too excited and tipped it over. Ugh. There we go. I wish I could say the same for you, girl. What were you rolling in? Were you rolling in the same piles that Betty Boop was rolling in? Oh my gosh, you are disgusting, Abby. She did not look like that, I don't know, 10 minutes ago or 15 minutes ago when I first came up here. You got into trouble, girl. Ugh. I'm probably gonna have to hose you down later today. Of course, we're gonna have another hot one that might be almost up to 90, and so I think she's gonna probably like that. It has been a ridiculously hot summer so far this year, and I got to admit, I am not a fan of it. So one thing I did want to note for you guys too, so the area that I had them in yesterday was twice the size of a usual paddock, because unlike most days when I typically will move them twice a day, like today I'll come out here in about, I don't know, 10, 12 hours and move them again. Yesterday, I only moved them once. Like I came out here at like 5 a.m., moved them, and then rushed back down so I could get out of here to catch the boat, like I said. And so you can actually just see a little bit of a difference in terms of what they graze down. Like this area is actually a lot less trampled, and they've selectively grazed more. And a big part of the benefit of actually forcing the cattle into a tightly clumped area, kind of like what you see in this next paddock over, is it means they do a better job trampling stuff down and eating stuff that they don't like. So for example, see this thistle right here? Typically this would be trampled down. I'm just gonna trample it down myself because that's the type of pasture weed I don't want. And by having them graze in the way that I do with them, what I'm trying to do is actually improve the quality of the pasture, make them consume more of the grass and make my grass go further, and really force them to sequester even more carbon into the ground, whether it's coming in the form of manure or trampled plants. Then when they're all done, I send the chickens through, and the chickens come in and they eat the fly larvae and they spread the manure around to help better fertilize things. And then once the chickens are done with it, that piece of ground that has now had cattle and chickens beating the heck out of it won't see any action for at least another 60 days. That creates an opportunity for the ground to recover and for grass to regrow. And that grass regrowing just helps sequester even more carbon. The 60-day window is what you need for the parasite load to kind of cycle its way entirely through. And then depending on what time of year it is, they can come right back and do it all over again. And so that cycle is essentially mimicking a lot of the things that you see in nature, but I'm just doing it with cattle and chickens versus say like here in North America where we used to have bison and prairie grouse everywhere. Like these guys are effectively the replacement for that system. But they do work together to create an ecosystem. And again, as I've said this many times before, and regular viewers are probably sick of hearing me say it, but I feel like it's so important I can't say it enough. The other thing you have to recognize is that this whole farm is an ecosystem, and that it's not just my domesticated livestock that I have here on the farm being a part of the ecosystem, but we also have a lot of wildlife. And so yes, the biodiversity of this farm doesn't just include the livestock animals we have. There's also a lot of wildlife that treats this farm as habitat. Hey chickens, I got a treat for you. Chicken candy. So do you guys know what really creative chickens like to do? Spoken word poultry. Yeah, I'll show myself out. I know, you don't like it. Good girl, yeah. We're just getting you cleaned off, plus it'll be nice and cool today. How'd you get into so much cow food? I don't even understand it, Abs. There we go. Hey, hey, hey. All right, good girl. You've been such a good girl. You're getting more of your apple treats. Come on. You did a good job getting hosed down. I'm very proud of you. I take the dogs twice a year to get professionally groomed, and then I brush them regularly. And their magical Maremma fur is really good at keeping dirt and debris off. But every once in a while, you got to just break out the hose. And on a hot day like today, it's actually not that big a deal. Let's lay down. Come on, Toby. You can come out. Toby gets some snacks too. Yeah. Here you go, buddy. Toby is way more dainty than Abby when it comes to eating snacks, but he's way more aggressive than Abby when it comes to peeing on fence posts. Come on, buddy. Let's go. Back inside. And now it's time to feed the Piggly Wigglies. Hey, pigsters. How's it going? Please don't be pushy. Excuse me. Enjoy, everybody. Yeah, the pigs in their habitat are doing really well. You can see just how quickly they get bigger and bigger. You know, they're ripping stuff up around the farm, clearing out these areas, like this spot in here, which is one of their favorite places to just hang out. Like, you wouldn't even be able to tell there was a rock wall there. Now they've kind of liberated it. We've had some really heavy rains recently, and so they've had plenty of mud to soak in when it gets hot. So all in all, I feel like we have a very good habitat for the pigs going here. Oof, it's actually really nice and cool inside the forest. I had originally said I was only gonna keep them here a month. I think I'm gonna actually keep them here longer because they just have so much space in here that there's really no reason to move them. And so, yeah, I'm just gonna keep letting them work until it feels like they've transformed this landscape enough and I wanna move them to the next spot, which could end up being most of the summer. Let's check to make sure their water is working. Everything looks good. They make a little bit of a mess with this waterer, but nowhere near as much as the way they did with their old waterer, and so I'm pretty happy with the design and what happened here. For whatever reason, they still feel a strong need and urge to stand inside their food, even though it's wholly unnecessary at this point. Pig ASMR. I do probably need to come in here with the weed whacker either today or tomorrow and trim the edge of the fence line here because the grass is starting to grow up a little bit, and I don't want them to get the ability to sneak out because the electric charge on the fence isn't hot enough. But at least right now, I can tell you with some certainty that fence is pretty hot. I mean, you could definitely feel it even right through the grass, so I'm not too worried about it, but I should weed whack today. Okay, time to feed the hungry barn cats. Some water. Here's some food. Dig in. Aw, I love you too, Ginny. Ginny is an aggressively friendly cat. Anytime we have visitors, I always have to explain that to them. So, in case you've been wondering why you haven't seen videos on the Morgan Gold channel, I've been working on an insanely long video that should be out fairly soon. But if you want to check out the channel, it's up and you can watch some videos. All right, let's check in on our eggs. So I actually have 3 incubators full of eggs going in there. These 2 incubators have automatic turners. This one doesn't, so I gotta kind of come in here and do it by hand a couple times a day. When I do it by hand, I don't put too much science to it. I just kind of gently roll them around a little bit, which is not all that different than what you'd see a mother hen doing to her little ones. The purpose is just to quite simply give them enough movement so that they don't get any weird spots as they develop. We've got about 16 days left on the hatch. I was hoping to have my new big replacement incubator, but that still hasn't come in. It's still on order. I'm still waiting. And I don't trust this incubator anymore, so I'm not using it. I'm not throwing it out because I think there might be other uses for it, but I just don't trust it enough to try to hatch some eggs. And I'm really hoping that I can hatch some chicks really, really soon. So let's stay tuned, and thanks for watching, everybody.